Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Do I think that there should be some change? I do. I agree that, we would like to see a few more home runs. There's no question about that. And I think people would like a 6-5, 5-4 game more so than a 2-1 game. But like I said, in the College World Series, there's been a little bit too much talk about the baseball and about how big TD Ameritrade is. There's been some great baseball, some great pitching.
Who wants to hear Ray Tanner talk baseball? I do, and we've got him coming up tonight here on Sports Talk. He is USC's athletic director, but he was one of the country's top baseball coaches, and tonight he puts the baseball cap back on for us here on Sports Talk. He breaks down tonight's championship game between Virginia and Vanderbilt. He knows both teams well. He knows both coaches well. He knows the location well. He still hasn't forgotten the difference between a fastball and a slider. I can promise you that. On top of that, we're going to talk some Panthers football with Coastal Carolina graduate and Panthers standout Josh Norman. The Panthers are hitting the state of South Carolina. They've got their public appearances coming up. They're going to be in Columbia on Friday and some other spots as well. We'll have that for you coming up tonight here on Sports Talk, and a bunch more. Update the wild and crazy world of recruiting. Top story today is one of the top players in North Carolina, defensive end Darian Roseboro, visited South Carolina unofficially today and tweeted out that it's a nice place. And we'll have more in recruiting coming your way tonight as well.
It's a nice place.
That's
hard-hitting information
I'm sort of
there.
Summarizing
it's a nice place.
I'm sort of summarizing. I guess the biggest story, though, K-Mac, you had this story this afternoon, is the ongoing legal situation involving a USC basketball signee.
Yeah, James Thompson out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who was arrested earlier this month. He's charged with battery and domestic abuse, was in court earlier this week, yesterday, on a separate part of that case where a judge issued a restraining order to keep him away from the alleged victim and her family, and he'll be back in court Wednesday, the next week, July 2nd, to face the aforementioned charges, and after that is when Frank Martin will make his decision, depending on what happens with that legal process.
And we'll hear from Frank Martin tomorrow about, well, I would hope he would address this. We'll ask him about it because he's going to have a meeting with the media tomorrow. He and a couple of the Gamecock players who are going on that trip overseas representing the United States in a tournament, and we'll be there for that, and we'll hear what he has to say about that situation as well as that trip upcoming. Professor Tom Hayes is here as well. Braves bullpen came through for him last night.
Yeah, it was about time, and I guess at top of the order, even though it was delayed, I guess it was a boom for B.J. Upton, at least for one night.
Both Uptons.
Home run, yeah, brothers Upton. Fourth time they've done that, home runs in the same game as teammates, tying a Major League record.
By the way, I'm Coach Martin. I'm playing Coach Martin. I have the sign up with his face on it. We'll talk about that. We'll let the legal system sort that out, Phil.
Okay.
Next question.
That's it, huh? All right. We'll be back, 800-956-7266, the number. Sports Talk on a Wednesday. All right, we're back at Sports Talk. Hope you had a great day, and thank you for joining us here on Sports Talk, wherever you happen to be dialed in around the states, as you're tuned in to the final word in sports every night here in South Carolina. Your most informed, your most intelligent, your most enlightened word on sports, delivered to you by the most handsome sports panel in South Carolina. And that was reaffirmed last night across the state in the polls. If you went to the polls to vote, that was one of the choices for you on the ballot on both the Republican and the Democratic side.
No wonder the turnout was low.
So we, so anyway, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. On Twitter @SportsTalkSC. Some traffic on Twitter today that we can address. K-Mac will do that. And our website, SportsTalkSC.com, where you can check out our news notes, recruiting. You can participate in our poll question, which currently is, tell us how many games you think South Carolina will win this coming season. Most people are saying 11. So I wonder who they think the Gamecocks will lose to. Those folks who are saying 11, you think they're pointing to Auburn?
Yes.
Yes.
Not Georgia, not Florida, not Tennessee, not Clemson, not who else?
Yeah, the team they've never beat in the history of them in the SEC, and the team that they are going to be facing that was in the BCS championship last year that has almost its entire roster back. Yeah, that team.
31%.
That offensive line is kind of decimated, though.
31% say 11, 24% say 12, 20% say 10. So the majority are expecting at least 10 wins or more for the Gamecocks in the coming season, so you can get your vote in for that as well. And on Facebook, for those of you who still go to Facebook, you can like us there on Facebook at the Sports Talk Radio Network. National championship game is tonight in college baseball. It's come down to one game, winner take all in Omaha, and it's going to be Virginia and Vanderbilt, two outstanding pitchers going to the Hill tonight. Ray Tanner will break it down for us. We'll have that for you after the 7 o'clock break, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't heard Ray Tanner just talk pure baseball, just baseball, not politics when it comes to being an AD, not contracts, not SEC money or anything like that. This is just pure baseball conversation with Ray Tanner. Tonight we'll have that coming up for you a little bit later on. And Josh Norman, one of the Carolina Panthers, will join us. Of course, he's got ties to our state from his days at Coastal Carolina, and he's had himself a nice career in the NFL. So those are some of the main things going on. World Cup today, K-Mac. You are the World Cupper here on Sports Talk. And anything big happen today?
Anything big? Nothing big. Nobody bid anybody today, so it's been progress in terms of the World Cup. Everybody's still talking about the bite heard round the World Cup.
World Cup. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow is the big day. Everybody, has to get their red, white, and blue on at noon tomorrow.
Where will you be? Where will you watch?
I'll be here in the Sports Talk studios, cheering loudly for the United States over the Germans. It's still World War II as far as I'm concerned tomorrow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's all over. Yeah. It's just D-Day all over.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Not with BMW sitting in the upstate.
Personally, I think that any team that we lose to, any country we lose to in the World Cup should receive a series of B-52 visits from.
We just send the drones nowadays. We've upgraded, but yeah.
I like it the old-fashioned way.
And then
Portugal, they're on the list.
Send those in. Then Germans say, BMW, come on back to Germany. Just pull out of the upstate.
That should be exciting tomorrow. Everybody knows what's riding on that. And, of course, you've got the other two in that group playing simultaneously. So by about, 2:30, 3 o'clock, we'll know if the Americans are advancing to the Sweet 16.
I have my plans. After my beauty sleep, I'll come in tomorrow, and I just ask K-Mac what happened.
Do they? Can we call it the Sweet 16? They call it the round of 16. They call it the knockout round.
Yeah,
the 16 of death.
By the way, Tim Lincecum right now is working on a no-hitter, and they're in the 9th inning.
No, jinx. I guarantee you he's about to give up a hit right here. He's behind in the count. Oh, this is going to – you just jinxed him, Corn.
There's a one out. It's a 2-1 pitch upcoming.
No, there's nobody out.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's nobody out. There's a 2-1 pitch upcoming, and the Giants are up 4-0. He's working on a no-no. Has he thrown one before?
One against the Padres.
How about that?
Last year.
All right, let's get into the story about James Thompson, K-Mac. You've been working on that this afternoon. You have the details. I mean, this is an important story because he is a key signee for South Carolina, highly touted recruit that Frank Martin landed out of Louisiana. He goes out and gets himself into some trouble, and who knows, this could turn out to be a situation where South Carolina eventually has to cut ties with him.
Yeah, depending on what happens here in the next week with his legal issues, I think will play a big factor in what Frank Martin ends up doing. What we know, of course, just to recap, James Thompson was arrested earlier this month after an alleged altercation with his girlfriend. Police charged him with aggravated second-degree battery and domestic abuse battery, and he'll face those charges on July 2nd. He was in court yesterday when a judge filed a 6-month restraining order to keep him away from his girlfriend and her family. So that's where things stand in that case. Now, just to get back to what happened, according to the police report, Thompson punched the victim in the eye, slapped her in the face several times, and threw things at her, causing pain and bruising to her chin, on her leg, her eye, the back of her right thigh. The incident was allegedly triggered by an Instagram post. The alleged victim's family showed pictures of the injuries to police, which they took as evidence and used for the charges. We spoke with the alleged victim's aunt today, and she tells us that these two, confirming what Don Green, his high school coach, told us earlier this month, these two have a long history of kind of going at it, and they've been told to stay away from each other, but like two hard-headed teenagers that think they're in love, apparently they keep ending up together, and it's like a powder keg when they're together. Bad things are happening. Now, on the other side of it, some of Thompson's people around him say, you know, she's no angel either. It's really a he said, she said situation. The courts are going to have to figure this out. We've been told that Frank Martin is going to let the legal process play itself out before he makes a decision. If we're told he's found guilty of these things or any of those allegations are true, South Carolina will, in all likelihood, cut ties with him. But if he is, the charges are dropped, which the aunt says the victim right now does not plan on doing. I don't know if Louisiana law allows for the victim to drop the charges. In South Carolina, you can't. I don't know what the case is in Louisiana. The aunt didn't either, but she said they're planning on going forward with the case right now. But if anything's proven, you could probably suspect that James Thompson will not be a Gamecock.
Well, you know, that begs the question. Let's go back to square one. Is one of the reasons he was looking at a lot of out-of-state schools is he wanted to get out of that situation, or they wanted him to get out of that situation?
Well, I think he wanted his girlfriend to come with him to school, depending on where he went. So I think the aunt, the girls, the alleged victims, and I mean, I say alleged because we don't know, and I do believe that there's a lot of things that it's easy to cast judgment, and these are serious allegations, and the legal process needs to run its course. But the aunt said she hopes that he goes away, so they finally separate, and there's nothing else to it.
All right, so we'll keep a close watch on that, and hopefully everything will work out, and this young man can get to South Carolina and be an asset to the USC basketball program. We'll ask Frank Martin about it tomorrow. Let's quickly go to the television broadcast. Tim Lincecum is down to his last out to get his no-hitter against the Padres, so let's go out to San Francisco and take a listen as the action is called.
The 0-1 is wide, 1 ball and 1 strike. Sanchez asking for that pitch to be, if anything, in the dirt. It's a ball and a strike. 1-2. That was a good swing by Venable.
But it was set up. You saw the first 2 pitches start the at-bat. They were both off speed away. The call was for a fastball in, and it got a little leaky out over the plate.
All right, we're listening to the Giants Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area telecast. Unfortunately, baseball's too slow. We have to go to a break. He throws the pitch in the next 2 seconds. I can tell you if he gets it or not. And it's a grounded to second. I can tell you if he gets it or not. And it's a grounded to second.
You've heard of the law of gravity, right? Like when you
I remember being 18 and in love. So smart. Stand by.
Well, we had to hit that hard break as the ground ball was going to the second baseman. He throws to first. It's a no-hitter for Tim Lincecum. And the Giants beat the Padres 4-0, 4-11-0, and zeros across the board. He gave up a walk. Gave up a walk. He struck out 6, as you mentioned, K-Mac's second career no-hitter.
3 no-hitters in Major League Baseball in the past month.
Got to do something with the baseball.
All 3.
They got to raise the seams.
All 3 in the National League West, 2 with the Dodgers, 1 with the Giants.
And, of course, the Giants, I think, has the second best record in the majors? So,
yeah.
Or maybe tied with Milwaukee for the best record
in the best division.
And a
baseball.
good comeback for Lincecum this year because he's been struggling in recent years. People were wondering if all the movement in his pitching motion had worn his body down, or if something was out of sync with him. But he's answered all those questions this year.
Well, it's Sampson, I'm telling you. First of all, he cut his hair. That was a mistake. And then he gained some weight, and I think that took away. You know, he was just a beanpole at one point, and sometimes you get older.
Are you saying you can be too thin?
No, what I'm saying is, as you get older, you're going to naturally put on weight. So if you got an exaggerated delivery, you got to change that delivery. Because I mean, let's extrapolate that to golf. Notice how Tiger Woods' swing changed as he got older, and the weight comes on naturally. Your body changes, and so you have to change some things mechanically if you're going to continue to play the sport you're playing.
All right, baseball note here. USC Clemson announced today that the annual neutral site game of their 3-game weekend series from 2015 through 18 will be in Greenville's Fluor Field, home of the Greenville Drive. And Clemson, 16-4 at Fluor Field since playing its first game there since 2007. I'm looking at well, this is a USC SID story, but I think this is a Clemson SID story, isn't it, K-Mac?
No, it's I picked that one up from.
South Carolina's 9-3. Okay, South Carolina's 9-3 at Fluor Field, dating back to 2006. So they'll play a game at Clemson, a game at USC, and then a game at Fluor Field mixed in there into the middle. So good. That's a lot of different towns were trying to get involved. Of course, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, which has had it before. I think Rock Hill was trying to get in there too. And this is, I mean, from my standpoint, this makes a heck of a lot of sense. Charleston is great as well. I think the complaints from the coach's standpoint is that you had to go to Charleston first and then work your way back up the state to make it fit from a travel standpoint. And that was difficult. This makes the best sense from a travel standpoint.
Now here's the question to make sense from a travel point, and this is just pipe dreaming. If they build a minor league ballpark over on Bull Street in Columbia, would that be counted as a neutral site?
Probably not.
I can't see the Gamecocks giving up any home games at their beautiful facility to go over to Bull Street.
Well, I'm saying you just go to Bull Street and then up to Clemson after you played at Carolina State.
I think fans might call that Bull something else.
Yeah, really. All right, going to hit a break here at the bottom of the hour. Josh Norman of the Panthers scheduled to be with us. Ray Tanner in our next hour to talk about the national championship game tonight, and we'll be back.
the ball out of the zone. When he has command of these pitches, even with the velocity down from the previous year.
But, you know, I think that's more disrespectful.
I agree. I want to pile on Germany because obviously it doesn't matter what I feel about.
We have to beat them.
Yeah, I'm an American. I love America, and we have to beat them. However, this gentleman is 7 feet and 2 inches.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
It's all right.
The other guy, so the cute guy, you never play the cute guy. Yeah.
Next.
More amazing acting, D-Wade or Mario Mandzukic. Go Beats.
All right, so this is from the finals. It's an amazing moment when Dwayne Wade catches the pass, but Manu Ginobili, for some reason, must be very strong because after not making contact, Dwayne Wade somehow still had the foul called, and I don't know how.
Yeah.
It's an amazing acting job. You've acted, Tom.
Yeah, I have acted.
What do you see here?
That would be bad for Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's actually 80 years old. And if you brush by him at his age now, he falls like that.
Poor guy.
That's the worst of this guy.
Or how about Brazil, Cameroon? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Cameroon and Croatia. Oh, wow. Alex Song, Mario Mandzukic.
That's horrible.
What is it?
Why do they do that? It's ruining everything.
It is.
They got to quit. Come on.
They must be horrible to date. Everything's so dramatic.
Right.
Oh, God.
I think I married 3 of them. Oh, Tom.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh. I got to go over here. Because it's just, first of all, I love Dwayne Wade. So.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's good.
I'm sorry. Oh, I love Eric, but he shouldn't have done it. But that is so much worse.
Here's what I want to give my advice to Dwayne Wade. Maybe next time act as a better teammate in Game 5 so that you don't have to let your buddy
hang
out there the whole time.
You didn't go there.
Yeah, I went there. It felt good, too, Tom.
Right.
It felt good. Next.
More egregious exaggeration. Kevin or Fred, go Beats.
Oh, I love Kevin Durant, but here we go. Chasing the dude, chasing his man. He makes a little contact.
Oh, that was pretty cool, though. You can put that in a movie. That's like some more stuntman stuff. Watch it. And he's back in the guy hitch and you swip around. We got all planned out. Okay.
It is pretty athletic.
He's doing his own stunts, man. I respect that.
His own stunts. He is. He's perpendicular to the floor, and that is respectable. I agree.
In all ways.
By the way, anytime we can get a one-namer, I'm all in. Here we go. Opening match against Croatia. It's Fred.
Fred.
We're tied at 1 at this point. But.
Oh.
By the way, it draws a penalty and they go on to win, so it's actually strategic.
Yeah. But it's horrible. The players should be able to call in and stop it and redo it.
I agree with you. Look at his face.
It's horrible. Watch it. But maybe it's part of the game. I don't know, like biting. Oh.
All right, guys, here we go. We're coming back. Stand by.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Good to have you with us. We come to you from our studios in downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, the Steak Man, Graham Pope, once again behind the bulletproof glass on this Wednesday night. You know, it won't be too long. This is what, June 25th? Oh, my. What, about 3 weeks before NFL camps open up? And those of you in Columbia who want a taste of the NFL and want to meet some of the Carolina Panthers, are going to be in Columbia at Fenway Park on Friday from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Going to be there to sign autographs and get everybody hyped up for the upcoming football season. We welcome in one of the Panthers to Sports Talk. He's no stranger. He's from Greenwood. He was a star at Greenwood. He was a star at Coastal Carolina. And he's a budding star in the NFL. It's Panthers cornerback Josh Norman joining us here on Sports Talk. Josh, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
How you like that introduction?
Hey, man, that was a big-time introduction. That was big.
Well, we're big in Greenwood, so give a shout-out to your fans in Greenwood.
Okay. Well, you know, I got a shout-out to Big G Wood, you know, Big G. Always, man. Been hometown since I was a little boy, and they're still with me till today.
Absolutely. Well, maybe some from Greenwood will come down to visit you in Columbia. But first of all, let's find out how you're feeling, because you had the knee issue last season cost you some playing time. How are you feeling? You had the OTAs recently, and how are you doing with the knee coming off of that?
Oh man, I'm feeling super, man. I'm feeling, better than ever. I think it's back 100%. I'm healthy. I'm feeling, really good, better than I have been since I went down, and everything's looking on the up and up.
Was it just a matter of rehabbing, or did you have to have some structural work done on the knee?
There wasn't nothing structural done on the knee. It was just more so just rehabbing and taking it everything a day at a time, and just being on top of everything than being more proactive than just sitting back and letting everything just happen on its own. So I was aggressive on it.
Yeah, well, I know you want to be back out there and participate in the entire season and hopefully get the Panthers back into the postseason again. What about some of the changes on defense? You've lost some good people, of course, and where do you see your role? Where will you be fitting in with the secondary this time around?
Oh yeah, we lost some people, Captain Mullen and Drayton Florence, and we lost a big guy back there in the secondary, Mike Mitchell, who's with the Pittsburgh Steelers now. But yeah, I fit like on the outside. I feel like that cornerback role for me, being a part of this defense that we have, just so menacing. I feel like I can be that guy, that cornerback guy that's on the outside that take us to another level on that defense field. When the ball's in the air, go up and get it because it's ours. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said you lost some people in the secondary, but you didn't lose anybody in that front seven.
No.
And how does that help you guys in the secondary? How much of a help is having that tremendous pass rush? I guess two medical marvels in Hardy and Thomas Davis, who come off some knee structural surgeries they've had, and they're just playing like they're still in college.
Oh yeah, man. That is huge. I think that's the essence of our defense, man. That's what pushes us over the top. You get those two guys outside, they rushing up the field, man, and you got the interior line tackles with that pressure when you bring in big KK Short, and you got Star Latue, pushing that blocks up the middle, and those guys outside. I mean, it makes our job as secondary. We just back there chopping at the bits. I mean, we're like blood in the water, You know which one you want to go, which side you want to throw it to. Those two ends, I mean, they one of the top two ends in our NFL league. And, we got those two young defensive tackles, and they putting on pressure. So, you got the linebackers with Luke and Thomas down there. So it's a lot of, it's a lot of pressure that we are, making an opposing on our offense. So, with that kind of pressure, you have to get the ball off. And if you do, round up being in the positions to make a play.
You're still a young buck, going through your first season in the NFL. What was it like, in the NFC South that's known for some great quarterbacks, but facing a guy like Drew Brees for the first time and knowing you have to defend against him? What was that experience like for you?
I think it was big. The timing, man. I think Drew Brees, his timing is so efficient. It's unbelievable. You watch it on film, but you never really know how fast it is until you get out there in the game time atmosphere. And it's just like split over dime, It's right back to back. And, he picking you down the field, and before you know it, you on the other side of the 50-yard line about to score, It's that quick. So I think just homing in on that, I think it made me better, understanding the game and how quick things come to you.
Talking with Josh Norman with the Carolina Panthers. They'll be in Columbia on Friday to meet and greet the fans, 5:30 to 7:30 at Fenway Park. I wanted to ask you about your days at Coastal Carolina playing for David Bennett and being a part of the growth of that program. What did you think of your time there, and what was it like playing for Coach Bennett?
Well, my time there was, I think it was the best time for me, being in that position and that situation that I was in. I made the best out of it. I think anybody who you would ask as a team, would you want to come and play at the beach or inland? You know, I think that's a selling tool, that beach, because you can go out there. For me, I know some days I just went out there at nights and just sat on the beach and just, let my mind just clear from what all things I've been going through, and coming out there and playing on Saturday nights in that light. You have the beach and the overside and the people just riding by with their cars. It's nothing better than that. I felt it was nothing better than that. That was my highlight of my college time, was those night games.
It's pretty incredible, too, how many NFL players that program has produced in, 10, 11 years? It's just a short amount of time, the number of guys that's gone to the league from there.
Yeah, like I said, man, and it's crazy because it's a 1AA school, you know. It's not a 1A school where people just all of a sudden, they come up out of that school, okay, we're going to go to the next level. No, it's one of those schools where, you got to put your hard hat on. You got to go through that door, whether you want to or not. And the guys that came through there, they still are in the league. So it's just not like they came through the program and went to the NFL and then, now they out. No, we still have guys in there, and they are making an impact on those teams. So it's nice. I mean, you can go speak for Big Mike Topert.
Yeah.
He's on our, Big Measy. He's a Pro Bowler, so he comes from there. And, it goes to speak how much stuff that Coach Carolina puts out.
No question. Hey, man, good talking to you, and enjoy your trips across the Carolinas, and especially when you come to Columbia on Friday afternoon to visit with the fans here. And good luck to you with camp opening up, and we hope some good things happen for you this coming season. You're able to stay healthy and be as productive as you were back in 2012. And thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you guys for having me on. I just want everybody to know you come out to Finland Park where you'll have the Carolina Panthers out there, and you have cheerleaders, the drum line, and all the things and paint for the kids. So it'll be a fun sight.
Sir Purr's going to be there, too.
Sir Purr, yes, he will. He will be in action.
and the voice of the Panthers, Mick Mixon, will be there to lead everybody.
That's the man right there. Mick Mixon, that's the man.
That is the man. Okay, Josh, thank you, man. We appreciate it. Josh Norman from the Carolina Panthers, and we thank them for getting him to us tonight. And get on out and follow the Panthers on their road show. They're coming to they were in Greensboro earlier this month. They're coming to Columbia. They're doing the best they can to reach out to the folks in South Carolina and draw them in as fans and make sure they feel a part of things. And how about that beautiful work they've done at the stadium to get it beautified and remodeled?
Thank you, Charlotte taxpayers.
For the upcoming year. We'll be right back.
Maalox and Mylanto get rid of constipation. Maalox and Mylanto get rid of constipation. We'll kill some of the upper stuff too. Grapefruit juice? Acidic. Stand by.
All right, thanks again to Josh Norman for joining us. Mike Morgan, from Norman to Morgan, he joins us now. Now, you know, this is getting dangerous because you see where there's now movement to have the Cleveland Indians change their name. I'm telling you, they're going to come after the Braves here eventually as this wave continues across the country. Let's see what Mike Morgan has to say and what kind of stance he'll take in defiance of that.
Sure. You want to talk about gun control next? The death penalty? What else would you like to tackle on this?
Well, you remember when Ted Turner brought the team, he wanted to change it to the Eagles.
He did?
They told him, Atlanta Eagles, and they told him, no, you can't.
Why the Atlanta Eagles?
That's the one.
Why not?
Well, the eagle flies on Friday. Maybe that's what he was thinking.
I mean, you've already got the Philadelphia Eagles, so you
but
don't need another
NFL.
Eagles.
That's NFL.
Anyway, Mike, on to more serious things. Good pitching all the way around last night from the starting standpoint to the bullpen, got it done, and maybe moving Upton to the leadoff role was not such a bad idea.
Well, they got a homer out of it, so Freddie was feeling pretty darn smart when that happened. An early home run to help set the pace. In fact, both brothers homered in the same game. It's the fourth time the Upton brothers have done that. You got everything, well, I would say everything you wanted offensively, but you got just enough to pull out the victory. And sure enough, B.J. Upton is back in the leadoff spot again. Why mess with success? Upton batting leadoff, followed by LaStella. The DH card tonight will be drawn by Ryan Domick. And, of course, Alex Wood back in the rotation. I think that's a good thing. I think Alex Wood has a chance to be a really solid pitcher for them the rest of the year, much like he was for a good portion of last year and even this year before they put him in the bullpen, then put him back down to AAA to get him stretched out. So similar lineup today, and we'll see if the Braves can take care of business against the Astros again.
Mike, is that where he's most comfortable? It seems that Alex Wood just looks like mentally from his makeup, the way he holds himself. He looks like a starter all the way. He doesn't always look comfortable when you bring him into a game.
No, that's a great observation. I had a long talk with Alex Wood. I guess it was last weekend during one of our broadcasts. And he told me point blank, he said, I never really felt comfortable in the bullpen because I've never been in the bullpen in my life. You know, he was a starter, obviously, in high school. And then for 3 years at Georgia, he was one of the top starters in the SEC, never came out of the bullpen. Started off second-round draft pick by the Braves, moved up the minor leagues quickly. Starter, gets up to the big, starter. And so he was talking about the difference in mental preparation to be a bullpen guy. He said it's something that really he was not ready for, and he was not exactly terrific out of the bullpen. So this is where his future is. It's not a situational lefty out of the pen. Alex Wood is a starter, and I think long-term that's the role he'll have with the Braves.
All right, Mike, off the subject of the Braves quickly to the subject of tonight's national championship game between Virginia and Vanderbilt. Who's your pick?
I'm staying with Vanderbilt. That might come across as a pro-SEC pick, but I just think Vanderbilt has a little bit too much depth in their pitching staff. You know, Virginia caught some breaks last night, and they outplayed Vanderbilt. They deserved it, but I think Vanderbilt has got a little bit more depth, And I think that's what a game like tonight comes down to. I don't think you're going to see anybody throw a complete game. Battle of the bullpens is likely what it'll turn out to be, and I would give Vanderbilt the advantage there.
All right, sir. We thank you very much, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.
Okay.
Mike Morgan with our Braves report, avoiding any political commentary, just trying to stay neutral and stay out of the fire. That's our Mike Morgan for you, brought to you by Witt Suber of Home Shop Realty, where you pay less for more. Call 803-518-3888 today to experience the home shop difference. And by Founders Federal Credit Union, helping South Carolinians attain their financial goals. So, yeah, where will it end? I mean, the Redskins, now maybe the Indians. Will they eventually get to the Braves? Will they eventually turn back and try to go after Florida State, try and go after Illinois and anybody else?
Florida State has the blessing of the Seminole
I know
Nation.
that, but still.
They've already done that.
They might try it again.
Been there, done that. Yeah, Phil.
Where will it end?
It won't end, Phil.
Gilbert
it's always
Indians.
Going to be half. So everybody talks about the.
They're going to make us change the
and
name
what they're
of
doing. What they're doing with
what about Cherokee
What
County?
they're doing
May have
with
to change
Cleveland,
the name
though,
of that.
you're misrepresenting it a little bit. They're going after the
They
chief.
They are boycotting. They are marching.
Can I finish the point that I was making? No, they're not boycotting the Indians part. It's the Chief Wahoo that they're.
What's wrong with
about.
Chief Wahoo?
They say it's
a
like
caricature
of an Indian.
Did they have a problem with Wahoo McDaniel when he was wrestling?
I mean, it's a great character in Major League.
It was. Wahoo McDaniel, I believe, was a full-blooded Native American.
That is correct.
And he went by the name of
Had a
Chief
pretty good
Wahoo
elbow,
McDaniel.
too.
Nobody said boo about that. Back in a moment.
I was a bigger fan of Serrano myself. What's he doing? So he wasn't like a borderline McDonald's All-American or something?
All right, we got some major stuff to get into here on Sports Talk in just a moment. Ray Tanner coming up and Monty Lee at the bottom of the next hour. So stay tuned for all of that here on Sports Talk. Now, you know, we're big on education, and if you want more out of your education, we suggest Palmetto College, because Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education, and they do so online. And to find out more, make sure you visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. All right, couple of things to mention here of major importance. Where do I begin? Let me start with this. This is pretty shocking. South Carolina State University today approved a tuition hike. They were not able to pass a proposed budget, this by their board of trustees. However, how about this? Their budget, South Carolina State's budget for the next academic year, did not include funding for, are you ready for this? The men's basketball team and the women's golf team. Did you hear me?
Mhm.
They did not include funding for the basketball team, the men's basketball team at South Carolina State. I think about that. That's terrible.
Well, I think a couple of things to deal with that is the fact that the attendance at basketball games are pretty much putrid.
Well, they haven't been winning.
But yeah, and the other thing is this. I'm not so certain that if they want to continue as a member of the MEAC, if they don't feel a basketball team, there may be some questions down the road about their membership in that conference, because I don't think the conference is going to just lie down and say you can pull your basketball team. I don't think that'll be interesting to see how the MEAC handles this. I would think they would frown upon.
I would think
this
so.
move.
Now, if you think that's mind bending, here is a follow up on a story we mentioned earlier in the week. Now, this is the part 2 to it. The Berkeley County School Board last night voted 6-1, overwhelmingly in favor of prohibiting parents from coaching varsity and junior varsity teams on which their children participate. It's the first of 2 readings of the policy change. Only one board member, Philip Obey, dissented. The policy would make the high school principal responsible for coordinating volunteers to support programs.
Unbelievable.
I mean, there has to be a rationale behind that, but it just seems unnecessary. If you have bad parents volunteering, then get rid of them. The principal should deal with that. But just to have this arbitrary rule, this red tape, bureaucratic rule, you're precluding some pretty good volunteers, I would imagine. You're people that want to volunteer their time to be around young people, free of charge, and you're saying, no, we don't want you because your kid plays. That's silly. It seems like politics. Like, you're not playing my son because
If
your
you're
son's on the
kid,
team.
Yeah, absolutely. Unbelievable. Top of the hour.
Stand by. Stand by.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And the star-studded edition of Sports Talk continues. We have had Josh Norman on with us tonight. We've had Mike Morgan coming up, Ray Tanner, and Monty Lee. Can't wait to, well, I know what Ray said because we've already interviewed him. We had to do this earlier because he's at a fundraising speaking engagement tonight for the Gamecocks down in Charleston, so we recorded this interview earlier. It's good stuff. I think you'll enjoy hearing what he has to say. And then Monty Lee live at the bottom of the hour, talking about re-upping with the Cougars and continuing the success that he had this year. They won, 44 games and went to a super regional, basically 3 runs away from getting to Omaha because they lost 1-0 and 1-0. So if they could have manufactured 3 runs somehow, they might have won those games and gotten to Omaha. And that all comes to an end tonight. So officially, the last college athletic event of 2013-2014 academic year is tonight, Virginia and Vanderbilt.
That'll be interesting because what Vandy would have won, I guess, their first men's teams championship, or Virginia will grab the ACC's first College World Series crown in 59 years.
I think this will also be Virginia's first team championship.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Did they win something like lacrosse or soccer? I think they've won soccer before.
Yeah.
I think they've won soccer before. In fact, did they not beat – somebody help me out here. Didn't the Gamecocks play for the soccer national championship once or semifinals and they lost to Virginia? I want to say.
I think they probably were in the Final Four or something.
Yeah, I know they made the Final Four one time. And so anyway, that's coming up tonight. I'm going to go with 2 great pitchers are starting tonight. My hunch is, and Virginia is – they've been swinging the bats really well in these 2 games. They've had a bunch of hits. They've out-hit Vanderbilt. But Vandy's got Fuller going to the mound tonight, and I'm going to go with Vandy. I'm going to ride his arm.
Mm-hmm. I said last night I thought if Virginia won, they'd win the title because I was just so impressed that once they got pounded early in that game, they mounted a tremendous comeback, and I thought that showed that if they could carry that into game 2, I think they have enough to carry into game 3. So I think the ACC jinx is broken tonight.
Yeah, boy, this is tough because it's baseball. Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Flip a coin, but I'll go with Vanderbilt just because Vanderbilt's been so good with their pitching.
And you tend to go with the SEC teams.
Well, I tend to go with history. I just, history says this is going to be Vanderbilt's game. But like Pro said, baseball's about slumps being busted too, and that just means you're due if you're the ACC, and they are definitely due. 59 years due, so maybe it will be the Who's.
93 USC was a runner-up in soccer to whom? Well,
we thought it was Virginia.
My question was, did they lose to Virginia?
Well, I'm kind of assuming that's the case, but I'll
don't assume. You know what assuming
One thing
does.
at a time here, Corn.
All right, we're going to hit a break. Ray Tanner right around the corner to talk some baseball.
Virginia beat South Carolina 93. I was a meek 9 years old. 2-0 was the score. 2-0. It was at Richardson Stadium in North Carolina. The attendance was 10,549, December 5th, 1993.
Have you been wanting to...
I love baseball, and there's been too much talk about
All right, USC baseball coach of past, Ray Tanner. Just so easy to say that because you said it so many years. Yeah. Hear from him in just a moment here on Sports Talk, talking about the championship game tonight. Hey, you want more from your education? Well, Palmetto College offers the quality of a 4-year education online. And to find out more, visit palmettocollege.sc.edu. With Palmetto College, your future has no limits. Earlier this afternoon, I had a chance to talk with Ray Tanner, the former baseball coach, not the AD. We wanted to talk baseball. We wanted him to break down for us the College World Series championship game tonight, and I asked him first his thoughts overall about the CWS.
I love baseball, and there's been too much talk about the size of the stadium and the no home runs and all that craziness. There's been some great baseball being played, and it kind of disappointed me that there was a little bit of deflection from the quality of the games that we've had. So many one-run games and so many close games in the series. It's been great. A lot of great players and a lot of special moments. So I think it's been a great World Series, and it's only fitting that we go down to the last day of the season with Virginia and Vanderbilt playing tonight.
Yeah, you know, what would you be telling your team? Of course, you've been there in this situation playing for the championship. So what do you recall telling your guys if you were coaching at Vanderbilt, if you were coaching at Virginia, what would you be telling your guys about how to approach tonight's game?
Well, I think sometimes, you can do too much, you can try too hard, you can think about it too much, and it is a big game. It's arguably the biggest game in both programs' history. And I remember getting in this position the first time in 2002 when we played Texas, and sometimes you forget about what the moment's about. I think you have to be simple right now. It's about, hey, let's go have some fun. This is the last college baseball game of the 2014 season. It'd be wonderful to win it, but let's go have some fun. Let's be who we are. Let's concentrate on things we do well and have a big time. Let's just cherish the moment, and you just got to go play. You can't make too much of it, and be the best that you can be, and the chips are going to fall.
Are you at all surprised there's been so much scoring in the championship series compared to what we saw throughout the CWS?
Well, a little bit, but first of all, Virginia can really hit. They got a great hitting club, and I think that's evident. Even in the 9-8 loss, they kept coming back, and I think they got 15 hits and 28 or 30 hits on the last two nights. They're very, very talented, and the pitcher from Virginia in the first game, he had a tough inning, and he led to 9 runs, and Vandy held on to win. But it's just baseball. Anything can happen, and the thing about baseball, you can't predict it. It's just a sport where you have to be careful. When you think something's going to happen, it's probably going the other way.
Now, what do you think of the two coaches? You have faced them both, Tim Corbin, Brian O'Connor. Who has the edge in the dugout, you think?
Well, that's a tough one. I think what Brian O'Connor's done at Virginia has been very special. His 11 years, the continuity. He seems to be extremely comfortable. Coach Corbin is a friend of mine. He's in our league, so I am pulling for Vanderbilt as far as that's concerned, and I think they're both outstanding. They got their teams ready to play. They've achieved at a high level at the most important time of the year, and it's baseball. Anything can happen. I will say that Virginia is arguably the best team that I've seen this year. They're really good in all facets. They play defense. They can hit. I think the pitching is set up really good for tonight. With the starter Spores, but you go to the bullpen, their closer hasn't been out there yet, and Lewicki, who's been very, very special for them, and Vanderbilt will counter with Fulmer, and they got Stone in the bullpen. So I think it's one of those games that if both teams play really well, I think you have to give Virginia the edge because they're so talented. But anything can happen. There can be a misplay, a couple of walks, a big hit, and it's the national championship game.
Absolutely. Do you foresee a pitching-dominated game, or do you see a lot of runs?
I wouldn't say a lot of runs, but I don't see a 1-0, 2-1 game tonight. I just think that, both teams are comfortable with their offense. Even though Vanderbilt probably is not as good offensively as Virginia is, they'll take some chances. They'll take some risk on the base path. They'll create a little bit of havoc. They'll put a bunt on the ground and make some things happen. And Virginia can really hit, and although there's not a lot of home runs hit, it's hard to cover that outfield when you got a team like Virginia swinging the bat. They can hit some alleys. They can make you play a little bit deeper than you normally like to play. So I don't think it'll be a high-scoring affair, but I don't think it's going to be a 2-1 game either.
Talking with USC Athletic Director Ray Tanner, who has his baseball cap back on for us tonight. Now, at the outset, you sounded a little bit frustrated with some of the commentary about the rules and the way college baseball is being played, and the way I took it, you kind of felt like the spotlight was off the games themselves and was on more secondary matters. So with that being said, do you see changes coming with college baseball?
Well, changes are coming because of the ball for next year. It's been determined scientifically that the ball will travel 20 feet farther next year with lower seams than it has this year. And do I think that there should be some change? I do. I agree that, we would like to see a few more home runs. There's no question about that. And I think people would like a 6-5, 5-4 game more so than a 2-1 game. But like I said, in the College World Series, there's been a little bit too much talk about the baseball and about how big TD Ameritrade is. There's been some great baseball, some great pitching, and 7 of the 8 teams still that went to Omaha they were the top teams in the country in pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's inevitable that if they continue to do what they've done all year, it's going to be hard to get runs. So it sort of played into the scouting report of the teams that made it to the College World Series. And I don't mean it as a negative. I'm just saying the games were good, and some of the deflection from actually the performance, the coaches, the way the games have been played have been pretty good. So it's been an enjoyable World Series. I like to be there, certainly, and as well as a lot of other teams. But it's been a great series, and now it's the best 2 out of 3, and it's one-game shootout.
Absolutely. 2 more questions. We'll let you go related to baseball. The announcement today that Fluor Field is going to be the host for the next few years of the neutral site game between USC and Clemson. Obviously, you signed off on that. You must feel good about that.
Well, Greenville has done a tremendous job. The city of Greenville and the minor league club there, the stadium, and all the people around Greenville that supported this game that we started a few years back has been very special. They've done a wonderful job, and there's been a lot of interest from other cities, which is exciting. It's encouraging. But based on the information that we were provided from all the different sites, we felt that it was right to continue the relationship that we have at Fluor Field, and we look forward to some more sellouts as we move forward in the next 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, no question about that. And finally, the deal that your old assistant, Monty Lee, got for himself down at the College of Charleston, staying put, not going to go to Arizona State. What do you think about what he was able to carve out for himself?
I'm happy for Coach Lee. I've spent a lot of time the past few days having dialogue with him and visiting with him, and he loves the College of Charleston. Arizona State certainly is a situation that was enticing for him. They invited him out. It wasn't a job that he sought. He didn't line up everybody he had to try to get in the mix. They came calling for him because of what he's been able to do at the college and his experience in college baseball. So I think it was a great opportunity. I know that it was not going to be a slam dunk for him to leave the College of Charleston and go to Arizona State. He loves where he is, and he's certainly been rewarded with a long-term deal, and I'm glad that he's here. I'll be in touch a lot easier from Charleston to Columbia than I would be out in Tempe. So he's done a wonderful job, and I'm excited for the College of Charleston and Coach Lee and his players that they keep the continuity going.
Well, listen, we know you got a speaking engagement coming up, and we thank you so much for putting on your baseball cap for us tonight. I have to say, you still look better in your baseball uniform than you do a coat and tie.
I thought I looked good in that coat and tie. Geez, I got to work on that a little bit, I guess. But it's not quite as comfortable. But it's great to be able to talk a little baseball with you. Coach Holbrook, he won't listen to me at all, and he won't let me share any baseball knowledge. So it's good that you'll let me have a little time here to talk college baseball.
Anytime. You have the platform with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be back. You have the platform with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be back.
Stand by, stand by.
All right, our thanks to Ray Tanner for joining us, and Monty Lee coming up in a moment. I want to get to a couple of things here. Bleacher Report, they're always good for some off-season football ideas and things to kick around. So they've ranked the 15 best defensive coordinators in college football. All right. So number one, they've got
Kirby Smart.
Yeah, Kirby Smart from Alabama. I was looking for the actual breakdown.
Yeah, but he's got the best players. So.
Number one. Number two is Jeff Collins of Mississippi State. I'm sorry. Hang on a second. This thing is.
Jeff Collins isn't at Mississippi State.
Well, all right, this thing's got me confused. Let me try it again.
Corn has a hard time with
I do.
slideshows.
All right, number 15, Greg Madison of Michigan.
Okay.
Number 14, Dave Aranda of Wisconsin. Well, I remember him. That's that picture from the Capital One Bowl. I remember that picture. Number 13, Brent Venables from Clemson. Number 12, Justin Wilcox of Southern Cal. Number 11, Glenn Spencer of Oklahoma State. Number 10, Lorenzo Ward, South Carolina. Number 9, Vance Bedford of Texas. Number 8, Ellis Johnson from Auburn. Number 7, Mike Stoops from Oklahoma. Number 6, Dick Bumpus, TCU. 5, Jeremy Pruitt, Georgia. 4, John Chavis, LSU, Dillon native. 3, Kirby Smart of Alabama. 2, Bud Foster, Virginia Tech. So who do you think is number one? We haven't looked yet. Who do you think is number one? Each of you have 15 seconds to come up with who you think number one is.
I'm drawing a blank.
Doop.
No, you named all the coordinators. I pretty much know.
Doop. You don't know? Number one is Pat Narduzzi, Michigan State.
Oh, yeah, that's an obvious one now that you mention it. Yeah, Michigan State's defense. I remember our good friend Coach Googe, Dave Guglielmo, said that he was one of the toughest guys to go against. He said he hated him.
Is that right?
Hated him. Mm-hmm. Hated going against those defenses.
You see, when they say defensive coordinator, I'm thinking who does the best with what they have. And I know that's hard to judge. Kirby Smart ought to be up there.
You sound like Steve Spurrier now. That's serious. A backhanded slap at Kirby Smart, like Spurrier gave a backhanded slap at Saban the other day. He's already said.
Does Spurrier ever do anything that's not a backhanded slap? I mean, that's a term of endearment. Steve Spurrier backhanded slap is the same as a Phil Kornblut hug.
How do you rare? How about? You're saying not really?
Well, I mean, I don't think he's really trying to. I mean, he's needling you. That's just his personality.
Right.
It's a term of endearment, though. I think he has a tremendous amount of respect.
If he doesn't respect you, he won't talk about
exactly.
it.
I don't think it's a disrespectful thing to Nick Saban, nor do I think Nick Saban takes it that way.
He basically said, Saban hasn't won enough at Alabama with everything that he's got, all the players and everything else. He's basically saying he hasn't won enough championships.
Yeah. He's won.
How many?
He's won more than Spurrier
at Alabama.
But I mean, I think he was saying
Spurrier's at Florida.
But look for where Spurrier started at USC.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a tougher job.
Wrong with his shot. He just gets to the rim so easily. He hasn't had to rely on it. And this kid, although he's an Aussie, he's somewhat Americanized. Remember his dad.
All right, gentlemen, here we go. Stand by.
That's a big night for college baseball as we have the national championship games. Kind of neat that it's coming down to one game, winner take all. You heard from Ray Tanner a little while ago. Let's welcome in from the College of Charleston, head coach Monty Lee, and it's good to say he's still at the College of Charleston. Thought there for a little while he might be heading out to the desert, but he's staying by the ocean breezes. And congratulations on everything, and thank you for joining us. How do you feel about the way things turned out?
Well, good afternoon, Phil. I'm very excited about how things have turned out, and just the fact that I'm coaching at my alma mater and at a school like the College of Charleston, a program that I'm indebted to, that I love being a part of, and going to be able to continue to be a part of it and see it grow and hopefully reach new heights in the future. It's something to be very excited about on my part, and I'm just excited about moving forward.
How close did you come to leaving?
I don't know. I to be honest with you, it was one of those things, Phil. When I got the phone call that they wanted to bring me out for an interview, it was one of those things that as a young coach at my age, you have to go take a look at it. The program speaks for itself. Their tradition. They've won 5 national championships. It's in a part of the country where you can recruit at a high level. There's so many good players on the west side of the country, and a lot of them want to go to a place like an Arizona State. And beautiful campus, beautiful facilities. It was just too good of a place to not go look at, especially for a guy like myself, for them to call me and consider me as a candidate for their head coaching position. It was something that I had to go look at, and I'm grateful that they gave me that opportunity. But I'm also grateful to be at the College of Charleston, and I couldn't be more excited about what I'm going to be able to do over the next several years.
Well, they gave you a good reason to stay, many good reasons to stay. And how did that come down? When did you get the word from them that, hey, let's take a look at this. This is what we have for you before you make any decision about what Arizona State's offering you? Here's what we've got. How did that come down to you?
Well, I think that it's just a testament to the aggressive leadership of the College of Charleston, to our administration, our athletic department, our athletic director Joe Hull, and Glenn McConnell called me on Friday personally and talked to me for probably a half an hour, and just and members of the board and just people associated with the school and with the baseball program. It was a culmination of efforts, and they wanted me to stay. They wanted me to be a part of the program for the long term, and it was humbling. It was amazing, what the college was willing to do to try to keep me there and just show me that they appreciated me, and it's not about me. It's about trying to do the very best that I can for this program and for this school. And there's a lot of other people that are involved in that. And I've got, the best assistant coaches in the country, and I've got a great support staff around me at the college who make it a joy to work there. And as you know, it's all about relationships and the people you work with. And it was about the kids, the players. They did such a great job of putting us on, putting us in the spotlight a little bit more this year. And it was all of that kind of wrapped in one. But the Arizona State thing was something that I had to go take a look at. But I can tell you this, as I went out there and as I got back, it just made me appreciate what I had at the College of Charleston that much more.
Absolutely. Now, a columnist out there wrote last week a story about that job and you, and maybe it was a little bit of a warning story about some things out there because of what happened with the guy that was out there. But he also wrote that your dream job, he wrote, was Clemson.
Yeah.
And so I want to know if you actually, when you go to sleep, if you dream about being the next coach at Clemson one day.
Well, I can tell you this: I don't think of things that way. I don't. I focus all of my efforts and all of my energy at working for the College of Charleston. For anybody to say that I have a dream job outside of the College of Charleston, is not true. I found that part of it funny, and and I read the article, and it talked about the pressures. Well, heck, there's pressures in any program. I mean, we all know what the expectations are at a place like an Arizona State, like a South Carolina. I mean, I worked under the best, in my opinion, the best college baseball coach in the history of the game, and Ray Tanner. And I know what pressure is like. I know what kind of pressure Coach Tanner felt. A lot of it is self-imposed because you want to do such a good job for your school and for your program. You want to win so bad that, a lot of the pressure you do put on yourself, and people are going to second guess you, and that's just part of it. You accept that and you embrace it. If you got expectations, there's going to be pressure. So that's just a given. But as far as a dream job goes, look, they gave me the job at the College of Charleston when I was 31 years old. And when I started coaching, to think that somebody would offer me a head coaching position at all at that age, much less at my alma mater where I went to school and got a degree, this is my dream job. I'm humbled every day that I get to wake up and be the head coach at the College of Charleston, and I'll be just fine if I coach here until I retire. It's a great place. Our program's only going to grow and get better and better, hopefully, and hopefully I can be a part of that, and I'm excited about it.
Well, in this situation, I guess you come through, Coach. You ought to learn some type of lesson from it. But tell us this: your trip out to Tempe. Did you see any aspects of the Arizona State program or the people, how they feel about their program, or any equipment out there, or something you say, well, wait a minute, we need to have this at the College of Charleston. I'd like to incorporate this. Did you pick up any thing out there that you'd like to incorporate in your program eventually in Charleston?
Well, there were some things facility-wise that I liked. I toured the facilities, saw the ballpark that they're going to be moving into, and they showed me kind of underneath what they were planning on doing, and so I got some ideas about facility. If you were able to have a weight room and an expanded locker room at your facility, kind of some designs. They talked a little bit about how they help their student athletes academically. I picked up on some things that resources that they have for their student athletes that I thought were pretty neat. They talked about the pride that they had in recruiting, not only nationally, but taking care of their backyard, the Phoenix area and the state of Arizona. I thought that was impressive. They talked about the number of players that had come through the program that, they didn't want to lose them to other schools, and there was a great deal of time spent on trying to take care of your backyard. And that's something I've always tried to do. I try to make sure that we recruit our state as hard as I possibly can. So there were some things that I was impressed with. But more than anything else, just the tradition, the tradition that they have there, the dedication they have to putting all of their coaches in a position to be successful in the student athletes. And, it was impressive. It's 73,000 students. It's the largest university in the country. So it's a pretty impressive place to look at.
No question. Well, we congratulate you once again. And enjoy your summer, and look forward to talking baseball with you next year, because you'll be opening up in Columbia. That's going to be a heck of a great weekend.
Very excited.
And we're just glad to have you in the state to kick around a little bit more. So thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Well, thank you as always for having me on, Phil. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Monty Lee. Still the coach at the College of Charleston, going to be there for a while. New 7-year contract, I believe, is what they gave him, and up that salary a little bit too. So that's all good and well deserved after the year they had. We'll be right back.
It's a pretty impressive place to look at.
No question. Well, we congratulate you once again, and enjoy your summer, and look forward to talking baseball.
I'm surprised you didn't see me start pounding my fist in the window as soon as you did it. You should have flipped it to a yes exclamation or something like that. Yes, exclamation. The pros got a couple. Curl your toes. Stand by, stand by.
And we thank Monty Lee for joining us. I forgot to ask him who his pick was going to be tonight in the national championship game. And we thank him for joining us here on Sports Talk. Play the Cash Whirlwind Instant game for a chance to win up to $20,000 on a $2 instant game, and that's from the South Carolina Education Lottery. All right, we get to baseball. I'm sorry. We get to recruiting now. Got a lot of recruiting information for you on this Wednesday afternoon. And first of all, speedy receiver, and I mean very fast, Nyheim Hines of Garner, North Carolina, also plays running back, sitting on 23 offers right now. Will cut his list down in late July. USC Clemson are among those offers. They remain in touch. He says he's been emailing with Coach Caldwell from Clemson, and he talked to USC's Robinson and head coach Spurrier not too long ago. Still interested in both, he said, and they both want him to visit. And he'll visit both in the next 6 weeks or so. He's been to Ohio State and West Virginia. Right now he feels the strongest interest is from Clemson, USC, Ohio State, NC State, Duke, North Carolina, and Vanderbilt. Doesn't have any favorites. He had a recent conversation with Ohio State coach Urban Meyer. Guess what he told him? What do you think he told him, K-Mac?
What?
He said, quote, if God made an offense for you, this is the offense.
I got God involved.
End of the quote.
Big card right there.
He can play receiver and running back. He said he wants to be like a Percy Harvin, and he wants to make a decision right before the season or maybe not until September or October. Offensive lineman Mirko Jerkovic from Florida went to Ohio State and picked up his 21st scholarship offer today from the Buckeyes, and USC is also an offer. Defensive end Darian Roseborough from Lincoln, North Carolina was at USC today, and he tweeted out that he was very impressed with South Carolina. Clemson is also on his short list. And speaking of Clemson, per Paul Strelo of Tiger Illustrated, Clemson 2014 signee running back Jalen Oglesby out of Daniel likely headed to Fork Union Prep School this fall. Also, Jalen Williams, C.J. Fuller, J.D. Davis, and Judah Davis will gray shirt and count on the 2015 class. So, if you take those 5, that gives Clemson 23 spots in that 2015 class. Now, of course, the way the rules work, if you have room, you can count some of these guys if they enroll at midterm in January. You can count them back on 2014 if things work out and you have room. So those were the guys, for the most part, that Clemson said they were going to gray shirt. I don't remember C.J. Fuller ever talking that much about being a gray shirt, but I guess they decided to do that with him. Williams, Davis, and Davis, I think, knew going in they were going to be gray shirted. Wide receiver J.J. Arcega-Whiteside of Dorman has 18 offers, and he's going to narrow the list to 5 next month. He's been to Maryland, Georgia Tech, and Virginia for visits and camps at Duke, Auburn, and Georgia. The former 3 schools have offered. The latter 3 have not. He plans to take 1 or more visits this summer. Then he'll begin to narrow his list. He wants to get to 5 in early July, maybe 8. And he's ready to get it over with, he said, because he wants to focus on football and basketball. He's also a very good basketball player. He's going to Stanford for a camp. That'll be his next trip. He's very interested in them. Stanford has offered him. Also Virginia, Georgia Tech, Wake, North Carolina, Furman, Pitt, Navy, Miami of Ohio, Central Florida, Appalachian State, among others, and no favorites. And basketball, point guard Ty Hudson of Mableton, Georgia, remains a major Clemson target, and the Tigers are doing their work. He talks to Coach Grant, he says, every day, and he said everything's been going well, going steady. He says the Tigers tell him they want him on campus, and he is a Clemson guy. He's been to Clemson twice. He'll be going back soon just to hang out with the guys a little bit, he said. He's also going to visit Xavier in July, and Virginia Tech also wants him to visit. He has set September 30th for his commitment date. That's his mother's birthday. And he said Clemson still leads, and he said, quote, the lead is getting larger by the day. He's been to Florida, Georgia Southern, Murray State, Vanderbilt, and UT Chattanooga for camps. So that's one to keep an eye on as far as Clemson is concerned. Point guard Ty Hudson of Mableton, Georgia. There you go with recruiting on a Wednesday night. And don't forget, you can always catch our recruiting online at our website, sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, usually hashtag STRecruiting to take you right to the recruiting notes via Twitter. K-Mac, you have any recruiting you want to add?
I do not.
Anything on Twitter you want to get into after the break?
We can check out Twitter at SportsTalkSC.
All right, we'll do that after the break, and we'll update some baseball. Again, Tim Lincecum, a no-hitter for him, no-hitter number 2 in his career. That's pretty cool. I think last night 3 guys were on the mound simultaneously who had thrown no-hitters in their careers. We'll hit a break and be right back.
No question. Stand by.
Our Twitter feed is at SportsTalkSC. A lot of folks active on that. If you haven't signed up to follow us on Twitter, well, do so right now. Don't be the last to do that. Don't be behind everybody else. Thousands have. Why not join in? K-Mac, what's on Twitter?
Yeah, one of the news notes out of the NBA today, well, 2. One, Kevin Garnett's going to come back for a 20th year. Another, that Raymond Felton, another South Carolina guy, is on the move from New York to Dallas, it appears, and we tweeted, and this is a hat tip to Pro. I did to Dallas, and I said that's probably, we tweeted that. Some people didn't like that. Well,
I couldn't hear what you tweeted because somebody
that it was probably a better fit because there's looser gun laws in Texas than New York, which there are. You know, he can bring his guns with him and not get arrested.
That's a fact.
And he's not going to serve any time for that. He was able to get out of that, and it looks like he's going to get a new start. Phil Jackson giving him a fresh start in Dallas. Somebody asked, actually, this is intern Hall of Fame Ian Maripol asked, is that tweet corn approved? I think not. Hashtag Latta for life. Teddy Hefner tweets, cold. We kid because we care.
Yeah.
We kid because we care.
In Latta, the gun laws are very loose as well.
Yeah, in South Carolina. I mean, you go to jail for not having like a loaded AR.
In fact, in Latta, when I was growing up, we rode horses and we packed heat on our hips as we went around, tied the horses up.
Except when the Earp boys came in.
Did you ever have any shootouts?
At the
KO
Corral?
Okay. Jeez, this guy.
Well, no, the KO in Latta.
Oh, it's KO Corral?
Yeah, the KO Corral.
Yeah, no, they want their own.
What else you got? What else you got on Twitter?
What else do we have? Here's one on Sam Montgomery. Have we mentioned Sam Montgomery?
You haven't.
He was arrested for going 89 and a 55 in Lawrence County. Speeding.
I've done that before.
Use discretion to go to jail in South Carolina.
I do that all the time.
I don't know if there's more to this story or not. Sam Montgomery, of course, was with the Texans, was cut abruptly in the middle of the season. They accused him of smoking marijuana. He and his agent denied that. Signed with the Oakland Raiders.
Good place for him.
Didn't make it. Now he's with the Bengals, where they take everybody gets a second chance, third chance.
Your second chance.
Anyway, Bo tweets he isn't as good. I said he didn't get the Clowney treatment, but Bo says he's not as good, doesn't deserve special treatment. You go to jail for speeding. 89 and a 55 is fast. It's a ticket worthy, but maybe there's more to that story.
What kind of vehicle was he driving?
Not sure what kind of vehicle.
Hey, look at this story. The draft coming up tomorrow. Here's a late-breaking story. Actually, it's not from yesterday. Celtics chasing number 1.
With a question mark.
How about that? What would we do? Please don't give up Rondo.
Hey, take Len Bias.
It says here that K.J. McDaniels is a likely top 25 pick in the draft tomorrow.
Yes, I believe that.
The Celtics are reportedly among the teams chasing the number 1 pick, along with nearly half the board. The Celtics would take Wiggins or Parker if they managed to grab it.
There's nobody at the top I would trade to get the number 1.
What are the Celtics going to give up?
I don't know. I think we sit tight, let Embiid fall into our laps, and go win about 3 or 4 in a row. We will cover the draft tomorrow night and other good stuff. David Bennett will be with us tomorrow night. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.